So after learning about the actual experimental setup and the points involved under this setup, we have to write the resources which actually used by you or the students, because the resources may be different. So whatever the resources available for this natural convection experimental setup, you have to write here the company and their details, the quantity available for this purpose. So normally we must have this natural convection experimental setup as per the ASTM standards. Then RTD PT100 type 8 thermocouple should be required for measuring the 8 temperatures, that is for 7 is for the copper tube surface temperatures and 1 is for the ambient temperature. Then there should be a control panel where all these factors like dimmer stat, then main supply indicators, fuse, voltmeter, ammeter, and temperature indicator should be involved. So whatever the actual setup is there, you have to write the details of these resources used. Then we have discussed about the procedure to be followed. So whatever the procedure you are following, you have followed while performing this experiment, that should be written here. Then we have already discussed about the precautions to be followed. So again, the actual precautions to be followed by you should be written here. And then we should go for the observations and the calculations part. So for your experimental setup, you should write the diameter of the cylinder, maybe in centimeter, in mm, or in meter. Then you should write the length of the cylinder in the meter or centimeter or mm. So you should know this diameter and length of the tube which is involved in your experimental setup. Then you have to measure the voltage, then current, and the temperature readings, that is from T1 to T7, that is from the copper tube surface temperatures, and T8 is nothing but the ambient temperature. So all these factors should be measured and recorded in this table. If you have changed the voltage, then you have to write in the second row. If you again change the voltage and try to observe these temperatures, then you have to write here. Right. Then after measuring this voltage, current, and 8 temperatures, and after knowing about the diameter and length, you can calculate the area of cylinder. So we are measuring the temperature of surface only. That is why the formula for this area is pi dl, surface area, right? So we are knowing about this diameter, we are knowing about this length, then you can calculate the area of this cylinder as pi dl calculation in terms of centimeter square, mm square, or meter square. Then you can calculate the average surface temperature with the help of 7 temperatures, because these T1 to T7 temperatures are the surface temperature of this copper tube. So we can calculate the average temperature of this copper tube, that is T1 plus T2 plus T3 plus T4 plus T5 plus T5, T6 plus T7 divided by 7. So 7 temperatures are there, that is divided by 7. So we can get the surface temperature, that is average temperature. Then we know the ambient temperature, that is T8 or TA. So we can calculate the temperature difference on the basis of this surface temperature average and ambient temperature, that is Ts minus Ta. So this is delta T. And then we are knowing about this voltage and current, so that we can calculate this Q, which is the heat supply or electricity supply given by you, because we are going to decide this voltage. So on the basis of this voltage and current, we can calculate this Q in terms of watt. Then we have to consider this heat loss due to radiations, because in this experimental setup, you can observe that there is a copper tube surrounding duct is there. So the radiation losses may be there. So you can calculate the radiation losses. So radiation is the phenomena where there may not be any media, or the radiation or the heat transfer may be with the help of electromagnetic radiation. And in the radiation, the rate of heat transfer for the radiation can be calculated with the help of Stefan-Boltzmann law. So this Stefan-Boltzmann law indicated as rate of heat transfer is proportional to the temperature raised to 4. So it can be written QR is equal to small e, that is emissivity, into AS, that is surface area, into sigma, that is Stefan-Boltzmann constant, into in bracket Ts raised to 4, that is surface temperature average raised to 4, minus ambient temperature raised to 4, right? So we know the Stefan-Boltzmann constant value, that is 5.67 into 10 raised to minus 8. We have already calculated this surface area, and on the basis of this temperature parameter also, and with the help of this emissivity, we can calculate this QR, right? So whatever the heat supply, that is nothing but Q, which is can be calculated with the help of V into I. This is the QR, that is the heat loss due to radiations. So the remaining heat is with the copper tube. So the heat loss due to convection can be calculated with the help of this difference, that is Q minus QR, because Q is the heat supplied by us with the help of electricity, and QR is the heat losses due to radiations. So remaining Q is, that is rate of heat loss is nothing but the convection, right? So we can calculate this H, which is our main objective. So to calculate the heat transfer coefficient, we can use the formula, that is H equal to Q upon A into delta T. It is a general formula. So H can be written as Q upon A delta. Now in this case, this Q is Q minus QR, because that is the only heat which is available for the convection, because already the sum of the heat is lost due to the radiation, and that is why we can calculate the heat for the convection, that is Q minus QR. Now general A area is replaced by this surface area, because we are using the surface area of the copper tube, and this delta T is indicated by Ts minus Ta. So we are having this Ta value, Ts value, As value, Q and QR value. So we can calculate this heat transfer coefficients, right? So this Q minus QR is nothing but the watt, then this area in terms of meter square, and this delta T in terms of Kelvin. And that is why the heat transfer coefficient unit is watt per meter square Kelvin, right? Now in this table, you can write this if you are using some voltage like we have used, that is 70 volt. So for this 70 volt, we can calculate this Q value, then we can calculate the QR value, then the Q for convection, that is the difference between Q and QR, then the surface temperature average, then the ambient temperature, then delta T, that is driving force, Ts minus Ta, and on the basis of that, you can calculate the heat transfer coefficient value. So if you are going to change this voltage, then obviously these Q and other parameters are going to change, and on the basis of that, again, this heat transfer coefficient value can be changed, right? So in this way, we can calculate the heat transfer coefficient for the natural convection phenomena. So you can write this in this result, that is heat transfer coefficient value in terms of watt per meter square Kelvin. Then if the heat transfer coefficient value is very less or not as per our expectations, then you can interpret the result and you can conclude the experiment, right? So on the basis of this experiment, on the basis of this result and calculations and theoretical concepts, you can solve some of the questions so that teacher can understand that you have understood the concept, you have understood the practical procedure, practical setup, and the calculations part and the result and conclusion parts too. right? So the questions may be like differentiate between force and natural convection, then define field heat transfer coefficient, give the unit of field heat transfer coefficient, give two examples of natural convection, give the equation relating to overall and individual heat transfer coefficient. So likewise, you can solve the questions to understand that you have to know all these concepts, units, and the practical procedures. Okay, thank you.